our time as Africa is now. We've got the most naturally rain-fed arable land in the world. 60% of the arable land in the world. People are talking about food shortages in the rest of the world. Here we are with so much fertile soil and all the necessary ingredients that we need to make that happen. We've truly been able to leapfrog in technology, right? Having a bank account on your mobile phone in Kenya is normal. The way we've been able to leapfrog is huge. We have these advantages because we don't have legacy systems. We've got 52 cities with over 1 million people in each of those cities. It's a massive opportunity. I was in China, and we're at a conference, and one of our heads of state from a francophone country kind of started the thing and said, talking to Chinese investors, and it was like, we need help. And his thing was, we need help because, we don't have power, we don't have infrastructure, we don't have this. So he finished his help spiel, right? And he finished, and I came up and I said, with all due respect, Your Excellency, I'm going to give exactly the same message, but we don't need help. We have 75 terawatts of power as sub-Saharan Africa with almost 850 million people. Spain has 75 terawatts of power with 40 million people. That's not a problem. That's a massive opportunity, huge opportunity. We need 20 to 30 times more power than we have today. Come and invest. Come and make money. So I think it's a mindset shift that really, genuinely, I think we're very lucky that the time is now. And the continent's changing. We cannot forget, as sub-Saharan Africa, we are 46 different countries. And as I said earlier, 46 different cultures, mindsets, all of that. So we have to think practically. We can't just copy and paste. We kind of blame the external, meaning people outside of Africa, the foreigners who are coming into Africa, and say that they generalize this. But I think we do it sometimes ourselves. I was, in one of my recent trips to South Africa, I'm not going to mention where, but I went to an institution for a meeting, and one of the people, one of the guys who came to the meeting said, so when did you get in from Africa? So I looked at him and I was like, I'm still in Africa. So I think we really need to we need to change this whole thing even internally. But I think one thing we do need to take advantage of is regional integration. There's a lot more regional integration taking place. And that's going to be a huge advantage. The East African community, in my opinion, is one of our best case studies because it's been the fastest in terms of execution. And maybe that's because of the number of countries involved. But it's been great. It's a collective market, $77 billion GDP. It's 120 to 140 million people, depending on whose stats you go on. And it's a much bigger market, and it's opening up in terms of borders, etc. Francophone West African countries today, you don't have to set up a bank in all 8 countries to operate. They have one central bank, one single currency. So regional integration is a very important thing for us to take note of, but still remaining local in the true sense. 7, 8 years ago, when Mara was still growing, and it still is, but at that time, I saw that African governments always favored foreign investors to African investors, and that bugged the life out of me. Right? We're doing the same thing. We're willing to bring the same thing to the table. But they trusted foreign investors more. Why? Because they thought that foreign investors have the ability to execute, and they had the subject matter expertise. Post the downturn, I've seen a huge shift in that, a huge shift in mindset, that they saw foreign investors pull out and go, whereas African investors remained. We stood fast, and we actually delivered on the projects we committed to. So I've seen a huge mindset shift within our governments, especially in the rest of Africa. I'm not so experienced with South Africa, but that governments are really favoring African businesses over foreign businesses. And that's a huge edge for us. That's a huge edge for us to take advantage of. Bureaucracy exists, right? It does. There's frustration in the system in a lot of places. However, we are transforming. We are going through a huge transformation right now. CNN asked me my favorite country in Africa out of the 19 countries, and I said Nigeria. And everybody gets really surprised when I say Nigeria. But I genuinely mean it. Our finance minister is ex-World Bank. Trade minister, ex-Goldman Sachs. ICT minister, ex-Accenture. Sovereign Wealth Fund manager, ex-Goldman Sachs. We have a fantastic cabinet in place. The president wants to leave as a positive legacy. So you see that now trickling down into the system. Yet the perception is very different from the reality. So I think, but that bureaucracy, like I said, does exist. And how Mara tackles that is we name and shame. We scream and shout. And we make sure things get done. And it's possible. So I think, generally, in terms of growing your business, whenever you're starting up your business, trying to scale up your business, I think it's always big to dream. It's always big to think big, especially because we have the ability to do so being in the sexiest continent on the earth, I think, right? So I think it is a matter of thinking big, but starting small, being very practical in terms of how you approach it. I think values and ethics is core. One of my core fundamentals personally has been my spiritual leader. His name is Morari Bapu. His core teaching is truth, love, and compassion. 3 very simple words, but carry so much weight. And that really kind of sets that tone. So I think it's extremely important to keep your values and ethics in check. There's going to be so many ways to cut corners and do things in a haphazard manner. It's never going to be long-lived. And today we have an opportunity to really do things properly in a scalable way. And I think we must take advantage of that and not mess it up.